I remember down in Mississippi, they'd pick cotton in the sun, and I'd sing with the black folks when the day was done. And I dreamed even then that the world would be my stage, and someday my shoes would shake loose the Mississippi clay. And we moved on up to Memphis, just trying to survive. I cut a record for my mama, and almost overnight the Colonel signed me up. I was living out my dream. My mama was so proud when you called me the king. Down in Mississippi, I play my guitar, sing my rock and roll songs, and dream I'd be a star. I went from down in Mississippi to Nashville, Tennessee, but my shoes never should lose the Mississippi clay.
Hi everybody, how you doing tonight? I hope you all had a good week. We're ready to dig into some more of a chapter 6 of Don't Cry Darling, but until then, let me say hello to everybody. Hopefully Jim will join me. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. Right now he's not available, so I did send him the link, so maybe he will join us. All right, so I'll say hello to some people. Hi Nan, how are you tonight? Hi, Barbara. How are you? Hi, Chanel. How are you tonight? Hi, Julianne. How are you tonight? Hi, Mitchell. How are you tonight? Hi, Lisa. How are you? I'm doing well. Hi, Judy. Hi, Jacqueline. All right. So, I'm doing good. I haven't had any colds or anything else. Been pretty healthy. Been taking some time off from Facebook, so I'm sorry, guys. That those of you that are on the Facebook group, I haven't been really on it. I think I've been more on YouTube than anything else, and I've been kind of busy working and stuff. So I've been kind of taking a break from Facebook, but I will peek on every so often, so you guys will see me there. I'll do the best I can on taking that. Hi, Peggy. How are you? Good to be here. Yeah, it's good to be on again. Remember to turn my clock forward. Oh, yeah, spring forward. Yep, tonight I'm going to lose an hour of sleep. But it was actually 50 degrees today. I actually have a heat wave going on this week. It's getting in the 50s, and I'm happy with that. Melt all that snow I've had. Good amount of snow this year. The snowbanks were pretty high. Let's say the highest I saw them was up to the branches of some of the trees. So yeah, I'm looking forward to spring. It's coming, and that's a good thing. All right, I'm going to keep our nation in prayer, please, with everything going on with, battles and wars and things. But we all know that Jesus has said in the last times that there will be wars and rumors of wars. And so let's keep everybody in prayer. All right, on that. And yeah, there's a time change tonight. Yeah, usually it's later in March. I remember it being in like Easter quite a few years ago, but now I think they changed it. But yeah, time change tonight in the Eastern time zone and other zones. Hi, Julie. How are you tonight? Okay, so I haven't seen Jim yet, so hopefully he'll be coming on. But in the meantime, we are going to start covering Don't Cry Darling, the rest of the Hmms. Well, anyway, last week I had mentioned that I had a live reading of the phone call with Ellen Foster, but I could not find the video. So I did make a new video. And so I'm going to put that on first, and then we will do the rest, do some more reading today. And also, let's see, there's other things that give me a and I question a lot of things that the media and other people have told us. So we're going to do the best we can on distinguishing those hmms. Okay, so make a question. All right, and I'm also going to read a couple more here. Like, hi, Mitchell. Yeah, everything changes lately. Yeah, everything changes. At least we know one thing that doesn't change, and that's God. So that's a good thing. All right, and hi, Mary. How are you? I hope you're doing good. I haven't heard from you in a while. I'm glad that you're back on. Welcome back. Hi, Francis. How are you? I'm doing good. So far, so good. Hi, Sandy. How are you tonight? I haven't seen you in a while either. All right. Hi, Snap Boys. How are you tonight? Hi, Ride Dizzy. All right. Okay. So, since I have a lot to read, I'm going to go over that. Thank you. It's getting long, so I took the curling iron and put it through it so it could get out of the bangs out of my eyes. Oh, yes, thank you. Well, I'm on every week at 8 o'clock, unless I tell you guys otherwise, and I will send a short message on YouTube or on Facebook. So that's a good. I'm glad you're doing good. Okay. So I'm going to actually cover that Ellen Foster phone call that I could not find last week. And so enjoy this, and then we will dig into the book. All right. Don't believe what you read. Hold on. Back up. This is the excerpt from the Elvis Files. This is Ellen Foster and Elvis Presley 2 days before his death, August 14th, 1977, a typed out phone call. So here we go. All right. Ellen said, hello. Elvis said, love, is that you? Ellen, why, Elvis? How are you? How have you been? Elvis said, I feel fine, love. I was thinking of you today. Ellen says, I think of you every day, Elvis. Are you taking care of yourself? Elvis, yes, but that's not why I'm calling. Ellen said, what's the matter, Elvis? He said, nothing. Do you know how happy you've made me, love? Elvis said, oh, Elvis. Elvis said, no. Today my mama has been dead for 19 years, 19 long years. And Elvis starts to weep. Ellen said, calm down, Elvis, calm down. Your mother's probably watching you now. She wouldn't want you to cry. Elvis said, I can't help it. I sometimes wonder if I caused her death. Ellen said, no, you didn't, Elvis. Your mother had a bad heart. She was overweight. Yeah, she was. She was drinking a lot because of me. Ellen, don't blame yourself for that, Elvis. Don't carry that cross. Elvis said, I can't help it. I started making so much money. I started showering her with gifts, diamond rings. I gave you one that belonged to her, the one that I gave to my mother back in 1955. Cars, Cadillacs. I bought her this big, beautiful home. I thought I was doing the right for her, but she couldn't handle it. She still hung the wash outside, fed the chickens outside. We are living on 13 acres, and my mom is chasing chickens around the backyard. I never should have taken her away from her roots. I never should have. It wasn't fair to her. She felt compelled to impress me, trying to lose weight. And then when she had a tough time at that, she started to drink. She became depressed, and it was all my fault. It was all my fault. So, Mama, please forgive me. Ellen, Elvis, Don't go blaming yourself. Don't go blaming yourself. You didn't do anything wrong. Every boy wishes that he could rise to fame and riches and then provide for his parent. There's nothing wrong in that, Elvis. What was meant to be was, and that's all. So, Elvis, are you going getting excited about going on your next tour? It's just 2 days away. I'd love to see you. Elvis, still sniffling. Yeah, that's why I'm called ya, love. I can you We're talking in confidence. We always do. You're just like my mother to me. Just like my mother, yeah. And I shouldn't even say that. I trust you so much. Elvis, Elvis, I love you like you were my son. You know that. What is it, Elvis? I'm not going on that tour, Ellen. I'm not going on that tour. Ellen, you canceled it, Elvis? What's the matter? Don't you feel good? I think I never felt better, love, and I just not going on that tour. Ellen, why? Why you cancel it, Elvis? I didn't cancel it, love. Elvis, maybe I didn't understand you. You're not going on the tour, but you didn't cancel the tour. Is that what you just said? That's right, love. I'm not going on the tour, and I haven't canceled it. Ellen, well, when are you canceling it? Elvis said, I'm not. Ellen, I don't understand. Elvis said, listen to me, love. Listen to me real close. You're not to tell a soul. Ellen said, I won't tell anybody anything. Elvis said, I'm not going on the last tour and I'm not going to cancel it. Don't ask me any more questions. Just remember one thing. What's that, Elvis? I'll I'll always be here. I'll always be here. Don't believe what you read. Do you understand, love? Ellen. Elvis, this sounds scary. Elvis said, nah, it's not. Ellen said, are you in trouble, Elvis? He said, no, no, nothing I can't explain. No, nothing really. No, no, I'm not in any trouble. As a matter of fact, my troubles are all ending. Just remember, I love you very much, and I'll always be here, and I'll talk to you again. When, Elvis? I don't know. But one day I'll give you a call and let you know. I've got your number. I'll always have it with me. I love you, love. Ellen says, I love you, Elvis. Elvis said, goodbye. Ellen said, goodbye, Elvis. And this reported conversation on August 14th, 1977 with Elvis came, said Chances, from a woman who appeared to be totally honest. He asked her if she was willing to take a polygraph exam, and she said yes. And she passed it. Okay. Okay, so obviously that is the reading that I had read the other night. I recorded it reading about Ellen Foster's telephone call. Now, how many times did he say that he's not going on that tour and he did not cancel it? At least 4 or 5 times. Repeated it over and over again, and she just could not understand why he would be saying that, and that type of thing. So anyway, that is a phone call that was typed out and recorded from her. There was other things that he has told his friends over the years. I mean, before he died as well, that were big hints. He told at least 3 people that he was sick and tired of being Elvis Presley. And there was another um I'm reading some of the comments here, but I'll get to them later. Um, anyway, so there were a couple other, things that he had said, and one thing that he had talked to Billy Smith about, who had told, let's see, and Elena Nash, where he told him about a guy who was terminally ill and wanted plastic surgery to look like Elvis and wanted to switch places with him. And because he was tired of being Elvis Presley, he said it. All right, to him. I might have a short video on that. I'm not quite sure if I remember correctly. I think I do, which is on the channel here on YouTube. You guys can watch that at any time to hear the reading of that. Okay, so we're going to get involved. I think we left off last week about the autopsy experiences in the excuse me, I can't speak today. Experiences in the hospital, which we will go over. But she also had said something about Elvis's most prized possessions were a few of his books. He had his favorite Bible, books on death, several pharmaceutical books, an autobiography of Yogi, and Cairo's books of numbers. After his alleged death, these books disappeared and their whereabouts is unknown. Also missing were specific pieces of jewelry, pictures, and pictures of his mother. Now, there was a whole list of things that the fan club, Elvis Special, I believe, had mentioned that there was a lot of those things. Oh, okay, hold on. I want to take a break for a minute. Jim has put on that he is not going to be on the video tonight. He is sick, so let's keep him in our prayers. Okay? All right. So thank you, Jim, for leaving me a message and letting me know. Okay. So, anyway, back there. Okay, so the Kairos Book of Numbers was very important, and numerology was very important in the planning of this death. Now, I had mentioned it in here. He mentioned numerology as a very important thing, and the truth about Aaron Presley in his own words. So I'm going to show you a clip of reading of some of the things that he had said in here, quotes about the numerology in the movies. So I'm going to show you that right now. We'll find significance in the forms of numbers in all of my movies. For example, the gravestone in Loving You. The year on the gravestone, 1878, equals 1 plus 8 plus 7 plus 8 equals 24. You have to look at the movies. My hero, James Dean, died at the age 24. But I was on top of the world then, and I wanted to live. He wanted to encourage his fans to look at all of his movies for numerological signs. For example, he specifically stated that in the movie Jailhouse Rock, during the famous dance routine, there is a number on the wall in the scene which adds up to 8. His birthday of birth. He asked me to please stress how important numerology was and still is to him even today. And of course, on the Jailhouse Rock here, you could see on the doors, 1 plus 3 equals 8, and 8 was his number. So Cairo's Book of Numbers was very important to him in planning his death. There was other things that he had mentioned, and I'm going to share this with you right now. Numerology in the planning of his death on 8/16. This is, wait a minute, let me put this down for a minute. So this is Linda Hood Sigmund's Truth, as she's talking about the Cairo's Book of Numbers. And she said she was using this example here. We all know that January 8th, 1935 was the date of birth for Elvis and Jessie. The following is a result of the formula shown below in the Cairo's Book of Numbers. So the total number of the year adds to 21, so on. So she took 1935. She added it together and it equaled 18. When you add an additional 18 years, that would be 1953. Now, what happened in 1953, she said, was, let me see if I can go on here and scroll this down a little bit. She said, now, see below the documentation from the timeline of Elvis's life, which is currently displayed on EPE's website. Summer of 1953, Elvis stops by Memphis Recording Service and records an acetate of My Happiness, and that's when your heartaches begin. Now, that was the original recording for his mother, and the birthday gift that he gave his mother. So 1953 was a big, an important year, and obviously it equals the same, like 18 would be 18 years from his date of birth. He was 18 years old, which was quite interesting how that worked out. Now, coincidence? Probably, but that is an example of how numerology worked in Elvis's life. And she had some other interesting tidbits as well about numerology on her website. Let me see if there's more here. Oh, okay. Well, anyway. So there was other things that she has here about the book itself, but that was a numerology example. And she had some other numerology things as well. But we can go over that another day. But he called it in his book, 8/16 in 1977 was the perfect day where, he was, two children were born on the 8th day of the month. So 8 plus 8 equals 16. So that was his idea. Okay. So now I'm going to go into, now that I've covered the Kairos Book of Numbers, which is boring to talk about. So I'm going to remove that and I'm going to continue on. So no one knows where these books, this jewelry. Now, Linda Hood Sigmund has a lot of jewelry that Jesse Elvis has given her over the years. And of course, she pictures of his mother were missing. Pictures of Lisa Marie were missing, of his loved ones. And a lot of other things were missing. All right. So one of the 2020 television programs that ran in 1979 was hosted by, let me get this back here. Sorry. Was hosted by Geraldo Rivera. He reported on a cover-up that surrounded Elvis's alleged death, and he pointed out that the police closed the case the very night of August 16, 1977. Geraldo said it was the worst medical investigation ever made in this century. He went on to say that no real medical effort had been made to determine the cause of death. There was never a coroner's inquest. All photographs taken at the death scene, the toxicology reports supposedly prepared by the medical examiner, and the notes from the medical examiner's investigation disappeared from the official files. Now, there's also the death report was reportedly filled out by Elvis himself. And of course, I've covered that quite often with the Elvis files, is Elvis alive, and so on. You guys can watch those other videos to find that out. Okay. So one paramedic said Dr. Nick was giving Elvis CPR, yet one of the doctors at the hospital said the body was in rigor mortis so long that if they had survived, the person would have been in a vegetative state, not to mention a grotesque shape. It's obvious it is not possible to give CPR to a rigor mortis body. I mean, rigor mortis occurs after death, and it takes a couple hours to set in. And when the body was found at Graceland, it was started. The knees were drawn tight to his chest. Now, does anyone believe the body could be given CPR? Now, I mean, obviously, if the body was already dead, even Joe Esposito walked in and said he turned the body over and it took a gasp of breath. And everything. Yeah. Sorry. It doesn't make sense. Why would you do CPR on a already dead body? It's blue, it's not going to start back up. All right. So one paramedic said Dr. Nick was giving, okay, wait a minute, I already read that, sorry. The paramedics did not recognize the body as being Elvis either. Okay. So I'm going to give you just a video clip of when Elvis Found Alive mockumentary or documentary. He discusses here the body switch and how he did it. So I'm just gonna let you guys watch this for a minute.
As soon as my so-called death was announced, Colonel Parker got a call from Paul Castellano, who screamed at him, "This is bullshit."
Wait a minute. Did I give you the wrong one? Oh, maybe not. Okay. Wait a minute. Sorry, guys.
There were no cameras allowed, but the National Enquirer paid my cousin Bobby Mann to sneak one in.
Now, at the public viewing, it was said you didn't look real.
That's right. The problem was, as Roscoe got sicker, then being on life support, he lost weight, while I had gained weight. So by now, we didn't look much alike. But Daddy remembered that Madame Tussauds Wax Museum in London had sculpted my head for a wax dummy and sent it for approval. Daddy still had the wax head in his office back of the house. So we glued on some sideburns and hair. I thought the hairline was too low.
I picked the wrong video. Sorry, guys. This is about the wax dummy in the casket. So, I'll just tell you in a nutshell. He met this gentleman while getting plastic surgery like 1975. And I guess Elvis had a chin lift or eyes done or something. Okay, so he had like minor plastic surgery. Met this gentleman who wanted plastic surgery to look like him. And he had an idea, and he's like, I'd love to live a normal life like you, and do you have he asked him, do you have any family, and so on and so forth. So he found out that he had terminal illness. And he said, well, I'm going to switch places with you. So I live a normal life, and when you die, you can be buried as me or, whatever. So the guy had plastic surgery on his face only to make him look like Elvis. Now, I'm not sure if it was a younger version of Elvis, an older version of Elvis. I really don't know. But he told Billy Smith this stuff. Of course, Billy thought he was crazy, but the guy ended up calling him. Now, they used a different name, but the last name was Holloway. All right, so I guess there is some documentation of Elvis paying somebody, I can't remember her name, Nancy Holloway, some money, like half a year before this whole thing. So we're not sure exactly, but I know that he set her up quite well with the kids to support their college and all that kind of thing. So, there was a body switch. So they switched the body, but we don't know exactly when. I'm going to say probably after Ginger left and Joe Esposito was in the bathroom with him, and Dr. Nick wasn't there yet. They did the switch then, and he escaped and ended up staying like in a what they call a closed off closet area in the bathroom, and then hid in there for a while, and then left when I'm not sure exactly when he left, but he did. Anyway, he got away with it. So his cousin Gene Smith is right here telling us that it didn't look anything like him. So I'm going to let you see this while I put Stormy out in the living room. So
viewed the body. His nose looked kind of puggy looking, and his hairpiece, something glued on. Something like, it just didn't look right. I just didn't believe it was him.
Another problem was Madame Tussaud had made a 25-year-old Elvis head so it looked too young. But in show business, you work with what you have. Then for the body, we took a wax mannequin from out of my closet where I kept my costumes. And the wax head and body caused another problem. It was so hot in Memphis in August, we had to put an air conditioner in the coffin to keep the wax from melting.
Afternoon temperatures rose into the 90s. The scheduled viewing of Presley's body was delayed an hour. People began fainting.
So at the funeral, they buried a giant candle and an air conditioner.
and I didn't notice he kind of chuckled and he said they buried a giant candle and an air conditioner. He's kind of like laughing at that. So anyway, I know I picked the wrong video, but that's okay. All right. But anyway, there is a video of that story, though, about the body switch. And then, of course, Billy Smith said, oh, I made it up, and so on and so forth. But it's still in black and white. Elvis and the Memphis Mafia by Elena Nash. So if anyone wants to read that account, it's in that book. Okay. Anyway. During the week of Elvis's daddy's funeral, a visitor to Graceland raised the edge of the turf covering his grave. He was astonished to see that the ground was covered with green grass. No dirt was seen, nor was there a break in the soil, nor was it sod. Perhaps this was why Gail asked Elvis when his father died. It's a bit strange that he replied, I can't talk about that at all. He could have simply told her the date, but at that time, he may still have been alive. Then she said, he did die, right? Elvis replied, I can't comment on that one way or the other. Part of the tape was inaudible. I know when I heard the tape, and we listened to it, or the transcription of the tape, it's talked about his stepbrother and all that kind of thing. Well, not really his father, but he did say in his book that his father died, a couple months too shy of being told. All right. Anyway, the respiratory nurse was called to the autopsy room. She reported that the drugs were administered, but none for cardiac arrest. So they gave him medications on a, I'm going to say on a rigor mortis body. Okay, it doesn't make sense if you're going to do that. All right. So anyone in the autopsy room was required to sign a paper stating they would not discuss what happened in the room. And a lot of people were told they were not allowed to disclose what happened. They had NDAs they had to sign, so on. It's hard to believe that Elvis is, well, I think at the date this book was written, Elvis was 75 years old. Okay, so in my opinion, it's time we all show some respect and let him have his privacy. He has done everything he possibly can to tell us what he did and why he did it, and we should thank him, not cause him any further stress. Apparently, not everyone shares my opinion. Okay. So then she keeps going on. She says, Patrick Lacey is the author of Elvis Decoded. I have read his book, but I have not read it. I have his book, but I have not read it yet. He is sure that Elvis died in 1977, and he said if Elvis did fake his death, it is a certainty that he would not ever reveal that to anyone, at least not all the Donald Hinton or Linda Hood Sigmund, or certainly not Gail Brewer Giorgio. No way. If Elvis faked his death, he would have hidden away forever and would never reveal that he is alive to anyone. But he did. All right. And I don't fault him for the way he believes. He just happens to be a person who needs to see Elvis before he believes he is alive. And he may not even believe it then, but DNA would certainly confirm it. And Patrick brings up the subject of fraud. He believes anyone who says they have seen Elvis alive after August 16, 1977 are liars. He says if Elvis Presley was found to be alive, his estate would implode under fraud lawsuits and his family would be in the poorhouse. He also thinks those of us who have seen Elvis and know he did not die in August 1977 should not report it because we are causing Elvis harm. For Pete's sake, Elvis wants the masses to know there is not a doubt in my mind that the facts stated in Dr. Hinton's book are true. I don't know if Patrick has read the book, but if he has, he doesn't believe it. Patrick sees no purpose for anyone to report their experience when they came in contact with Elvis. He says reporting it means nothing without proof. Perhaps there will be enough proof for him one day, but that is a decision only Elvis can make. He also says that those of us who tell our stories make us look foolish and also make Elvis look foolish. I don't feel foolish. And I'm betting Elvis doesn't either. He says, by telling our stories, we are insulting Lisa Marie and her family. I imagine none of us thought about harming Lisa Marie. It is clear to us that she knows her daddy didn't die when it was reported, that he did. I also imagine she would prefer that we not tell our stories, but she can hardly fault us for doing so because it has been a blessing to have the experience. She knows we're not lying, but she will probably continue her story until she knows the truth from her is important and necessary for her to tell. People who believe that he died in 1977 will certainly be befuddled and amazed. However, after they get over the shock of such great news, I believe they will understand and wish him nothing but good wishes. So Patrick also believes that anyone who goes public and states that they believe Elvis is alive is risking embarrassing their family and friends. I doubt any of my family and friends will be embarrassed. In any case, I can't say that I believe Elvis is alive, but I can say I know he did not die in 1977 and that he was living on March 12, 1988. When she met him at the Safeway store. All right. So I'm going to stop right there and we are going to jump on for comments and questions and all that. And that'll be it. Okay. And I think we'll be almost done this chapter. Maybe next time. We'll see. But I decided to break it up into pieces because there is a lot of, video evidence and Linda Hood Sigmund evidence and so on. All right. So I just wanted to, let's see. I know that she mentioned the death report and that was written and signed in Elvis's handwriting. Let's see if I have it. I need a copy. Anyway, there was plenty of TV programs out there that had talked about handwriting and that it was definitely Elvis's handwriting on the death report, and it was definitely Elvis's handwriting on some of the FBI reports that are out there. And so it's hard to say it's not impossible that he is still around. He's just not living as Elvis anymore. So Elvis, the image Elvis died. I mean, the image died, but the body of the man is still around. Okay. And my friend Jim has met him as well prior and had talked to him and is still kind of in contact with him. Now, as far as there was someone that asked me a question about Linda Hood Sigmund, I have checked her site. She has not heard from him since last July. And I guess he's having problems with his phone, and he has some new caretakers that I'm not quite sure if it has something to do with maybe he's in like, he's not, doesn't have access or free access to the phone, or has a hard time getting to the phone. I'm not quite sure exactly, but from what I understand, the go-between's been pretty sick as well. So Linda had said last week at the end of the month that the go-between is getting limited mail now. So she's only mailing out less to Jesse. And she hasn't heard from Jesse. So we don't know exactly how he's doing, but from what I understand, he's still okay and still around. He just hasn't contacted her. And we don't know if it's health reasons or access or. But I'm going to say that I know that it was difficult because I know he had a stroke. He was complaining about his speech, his language, that type of thing. And he also had problems with standing, and he's in a wheelchair. So there's a possibility that he could be in some type of being cared for, and probably doesn't have access to a phone as much as he used to. Okay. And if he is in like one of those like nursing homes or assisted living places or whatever, I know that sometimes they have one telephone for one whole entire aisle. He could be in a hospital. We don't know. Okay. As far as I know, he's doing okay. All right. Hi, Rita. That's okay. I know that you sometimes are late. You can always watch the re. I did send you a link. I'm kind of surprised. I did send you a link, Diana, I think. That's okay. I'm sick. High blood pressure. We appreciate prayers. Okay, Diana, we'll pray for you right now. Hello to Stormy. Yeah, I put Stormy out in the living room. She was kind of stepping on the computer, almost lost my connection, so I had to move her. Let's bring it to your attention. He's talking about Daddy. Remember about the wax head is his office, but yet he said his dad didn't know. Right. So I'm going to say this. Now, I know that he had said in this book that he commissioned a wax dummy. All right. So he had two wax dummies. One went into a museum, the other one he commissioned. And then he told Joe Esposito and Larry Geller, don't tell anybody. They thought he was crazy. But what he did with the wax body, I'm not quite sure where it was stored, but it was stored somewhere. And they used that in the casket was the wax body that was in here. Like I said, he followed a script for that Elvis Found Alive, so it could be a possibility that Joel what's his name, that wrote the script, probably told the story that way. I just gave you that. I don't have any other information. So Vernon didn't know about his son thinking. Why did he ask for the wax head for Eve for casket? I'm so confused about what was said. Exactly. So, like I said, it was written out. What he said here is different than what was on that movie. I mean, a little different. But anyway, he claimed Vernon didn't know. We'll just stay with that. I don't know why he would have a wax head in his office. Elvis, I have no idea. Honestly. Right. Yeah. And inside the casket, he looked like he was in the 50s, not in the 70s, Elvis. And I mean, I've had a picture before of like the profile of Elvis in the 1970s and the profile of the Elvis in the casket, and they're different profiles. Even the noses are different. He had a nose job, I know that. So right. Elvis had every right to do what he did so he could have a normal life. Right. Somewhat normal life. He said, and I thought I could have a normal life. I think this is what it said in here in this preface. And I thought I could have a normal life. Jesse Elvis Presley, August 2nd, 1998. But it's been beyond normal. From what I can gather between Elvis Found Alive and some of the experiences here that Gail Brewer Giorgio had mentioned, I'd say the brief timeline of the whole thing was 78 to 80, about 1980. He was kind of doubling as Orion with Jimmy Ellis on the side. In between that, he was working for the FBI behind the scenes, undercover for the DEA and so on. I know that he mentioned in his book that he did some police work, one in Denver, one in Miami, kept being founded out or recognized, and he had to stop doing police work, and he had to work in the offices, I think he said in intelligence on this movie here, on Elvis Found Alive in the FBI. So he was basically in the office behind the scenes working on the computer in the intelligence agency. And he was big into, I guess, breaking down the mafia arrests and everything. I remember hearing all those big mafia kingpins being arrested in the 80s and the 90s. He was involved behind the scenes in that. That is why Orion kind of, the actual masked Orion kind of disappeared after 78, 90, 1980 or 81. He also tried to let his fans know that he was still around, and he recorded still with Civil Nora. I think he might have wanted to come back. I mean, his plan was to come back after 3 or 4 years, but it didn't work out. So he redid these recordings to Silver Nora, and Steve Chance's book came out. And these recordings here that I have shared with you guys on Silver Nora, there's some talking pieces and some singing that sounds a lot like Elvis Presley. That was 1981. That came out. So he talks about that in his on the Elvis tapes, where he said that he had done some recordings and remade some older songs and had a good time, but he wasn't sure if they were going to come out or not because of the quality of them, but they did come out. So hint, hint. He also mentioned that he was going to make a new album. He was going to do it his way. That is Spelling on the Stone, 1988. And 1988, of course, the year is very important. So we have him meeting, let's say, Pepper Ritter in March of 1988. Spelling on the Stone comes out in like August, maybe around there, or July 1988. He actually records the rest of the album. And meanwhile, he meets Byrne in this book in the Thanksgiving weekend in 1988. And Byrne had mentioned the Kairos books of numbers. He did the birthday numbers to make sure that they were compatible, so on. All right. So, now also 1988, actually December 8th, 1988, the rest of the album comes out. And of course, Lisa Marie Presley gets married to her first husband in October of 1988. So all this happened, including the phone call with Gail Brewer Giorgio that was taped 1988. And that was right after Lisa Marie was married, because he asked her, she asked him about the wedding and how he would feel about becoming a grandfather. Okay, so we know that that was then. So 1988 was a big year for him. Maybe he did try to do a comeback, and he couldn't. So the album Spelling on the Stone was anonymous. All right, it says anonymous on my album cover. I have it in my closet over there. But the problem is that when you're working with the FBI and he has dangers of being found out or death threats upon your body, you're working for the FBI, you're dealing with confidential information, things like that. He didn't want to be found, like that. So to like assign people to take the credit for his works, even though he did those, like Spelling on the Stone, he gave Dan Willis the credits for it. Civil Nora, he did. I believe John Cotner kind of said, hey, it was me, when he did Down in Mississippi, he gave that to Orion, Jimmy Ellis. Okay. And I mean, he also did Down in Mississippi back in 1987 or 86, somewhere in there. So he did try to give us some music to because he knows that we miss our Elvis. All right. So those are the things that we have. And then, of course, he did the Elvis Found Alive. And I do have a video about how that was made, so you guys can check that out on YouTube. And then he did 15 songs on that album. It is copywritten, so I can't share the songs with you on YouTube or Facebook without getting a copyright, not strike, but a copyright claim. So I won't do that. But anyway, those are all those are offered on Linda Hood Sigmund's Truth. And see if I can get that for you. I'm on one page here, so that might be a little difficult. Hold on. Here we go. All right, so she has on her website here on the right, you can listen to all 15 songs on her website. I mean, these songs here were done in 2011. That came out with Elvis Found Alive from Highway 61 album, of course. Copyright goes to whoever Highway 61 is. But anyway, so if we clicked on that on the right, you would get the list of songs. Okay. Now, next. Okay. I joined Jim. I have a spring ahead tonight for the last time. By the way, you cannot give CPR on someone who has already in rigor mortis. They are past that point. Exactly. And so that is what the stories were. Oh, I gave him, CPR while waiting for the paramedics and everything. But then 1 minute, Joe Esposito said he was already in rigor mortis. And next minute he said he breathed one breath when he turned him over. And you're like, which one is it, Joe? One, he said he felt he was sleeping on the bed. The next one, he said he was laying on the floor in the toilet. Which one is it, Joe? So a lot of the stories do not match, and the amount of time it takes to do a full investigation and all that kind of thing. Hi, Colleen. How are you? All right, we won't forget. I will say that I've heard some of Patrick BS, and he did credit Eliza, but the proof is in the pudding, and I know what I saw and who I talked to, and I'm not going to argue with no one. Correct. And of course, Pepper Ritter, I mean, how can you say she stood there literally hugging him? He hugged her. She got his shirt soaked with tears, and she was squeezing his love handles. I mean, he was really real. I mean, how can you tell somebody that he's not alive? I mean, like, you can't tell her that he's dead. I mean, a lot of people had that experience. All right. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Mitchell's sighting. Yeah, I would like to meet with Mitchell someday. Maybe he can do a live with me. Maybe one night, come on live and talk about his experience. All right. Joy, I went on Linda's site and I couldn't find any updates. Have you heard anything? Thank you so much for sharing this with us. You're welcome. Okay, so the latest update was February, the end of February. She said she heard from the go-between and he had to go back into his assisted living place, and his wife was in and out of the hospital as well. And so she's saying the mail is hard to get, to his house and so on, as he sends the mail to Jesse. From what I understand, he's heard from him and that he's okay, but he's having a hard time. And she said with his current, I would like to link that, but I can't open it right now. With his current health problems, he's having a hard time. I think she said something like he has helpers for different things, and he can't get access to the phone at times for some reason. So he hasn't been able to call her. I don't know if they're delaying him calling her or if it's because he can't get to the phone. Because I think his phone is corded. He's on a special phone, not like cordless. I did get a copy of Elvis in His Own Words. Haven't read it yet. And it's probably pretty, you mean the truth about Elvis Aaron Presley in his own words? Because there is another one that was Elvis in his own words as well. So okay. Presley Arrangements pretty much picks up the night Elvis disappeared, dies by Monty Nicholson, tells a story. Have you guys read that one? What's your opinion? Okay, so I have it right here, the Presley Arrangement. I have got it brand new. I might have opened up the first page, read one page, and didn't read the rest. I don't know why. But I will read it, and I will let you know maybe in another, maybe in a couple weeks when I get around to reading it. Because I like to listen to, I have a reading disability, and I'm so slow at reading that I like to listen to audiobooks. So if this was on audiobook, I would listen to it in a heartbeat and let you know. But, yeah, I will try and I'll let you know. I don't know if I do not know if Jim has read it. I know that there was 2 theories on how he left the mansion. One was is that he escaped out of the mansion out of the back, went into camper, way in the middle of the night, like left in the middle of the night, went into a camper and took off, like a RV, and took off. And the other one was he left in a helicopter. And there are some other indicators saying they heard a helicopter swarming around the area on that day. I think Larry Geller had mentioned that in here. So it could be one or the other, but those are the 2. And of course, this one here mentions a gentleman who actually witnessed Elvis coming out of the mansion before the ambulances, or right after the ambulances came, and went into a helicopter. The only thing wrong with that, and this is my opinion, is that it's in broad daylight. And if you were thinking if he escapes out the back of Graceland and gets into a helicopter during the day, wouldn't that hurt? Like, wouldn't that be seen by other people? So I don't really know, Gaskin. Honestly, I don't know. There are so many discrepancies in the whole thing that it's hard to figure it out. Hi, Vinny. Well, air came on. Right. Right, but I don't think a rigor mortis body would breathe out air. I mean, if you lift him up, you know what I mean? And I also know that he had given indications here that he said Ginger Eldon took a long, long time to find his body. So he had to use a special breathing technique that he learned through his religious stuff to put him in like a comatose state where his breathing was very minute. So the turn over to do one breath is a possibility. But if the body was already in rigor mortis, it's not breathing, it ain't gonna breathe. It won't do that. All right, so it doesn't wash with me. Yeah, that would be nice, but I'm not sure if he will or not. I'll have to ask him. Oh, okay. You have both in yellow and red book. All right. I don't think he does. I know that Jim is in touch with somebody close to Jesse. But yeah. The only person that actually calls is Linda that let us know. But anyway. Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much for letting me know that. Oh, okay, no problem. Thank you for letting me know that. Okay. I have the book, loved it. Not sure of everything, but it gave me hope way back he was alive. So thankful he is. Yes. Could have trapped the air inside his body when they turned him over. It could fell. Okay. You know, I'm gonna say that it's a possibility. But when he got into the hospital, they said he was in rigor mortis. When he did do a body switch, okay, so this body switch, when they were in the hospital, they had mentioned some things that wouldn't obviously happen, and that is that they said, evidence of like broken teeth from a breathing tube. and an incision that went down his chest here. The guy that was brought in. They said he didn't look anything like him. Doctors and nurses said they were kind of questioning his body because it wasn't really him. And of course, the DNA doesn't match either. They found that out. So. All right, no problem. Have a great night. Get some rest. Yes, I'll let him know. All right, well, I think we're almost done our little chat here, and I'm going to say, if you guys enjoyed this video and haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe, like, follow, share this video, and you guys have a great night. God bless you all, and I will see you tomorrow. Okay, wait a minute, there's one more. I'll see you next week. There's a guy named Mac or something like that. Oh my God, a spy guy. He tells the truth. Oh, okay. Really? I really do not know how Pepper is. As far as I know, last time I knew she was ailing with something, but I don't remember. She's very old. She's older than Elvis by 6 months, so pretty sick. You're very welcome. Good night, Rita. Oh, wow. Greetings from you from Kenya. Oh, well, thank you. Nice to meet you. Levine? Is that what we said for you? You're welcome. Have a great evening. Yes. And also just keep Linda in your prayers. Linda Hood Sigmund and her go-between, because she's been dealing with her fibromyalgia and arthritis pain. She said she's in horrible pain. So she's cutting down her messages to Jesse. But nice to meet you. Yes. Nice to meet you. All right. So I'm going to have a good night. So I'm going to end with half of Civil Nora's Reconsider Baby. And have a good night. God bless you all, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Well, so long. Oh, how I hate to see you go. Well, so long, baby. Oh, how I hate to see you go. Well, the way that I will miss you, child, I guess you'll never know. You said you once said love me, but now I guess you changed your mind. You said you once said love me, yeah, but now I guess you changed your mind. I'm gonna let you go ahead on home now, baby. Pray that you come back home sometime.